Uh, and let me go
Well,
back to that.
just to
Okay.
capture what you shared, just for a brief run through, you were sharing at the introduction. The components are pretty well fleshed out, and you just separated the game based on what people would experience, and all of the components, though important in breaking everything out, that section as it is could come out if we get to that point in the game, I guess, or in the development of it, and starting at setup for
Exactly.
the rule book. If we would just say the rule book as a firm, strict structure from the components list going to setup would be most ideal, or is that kind of um,
Well, I'm going to explain to you what do I perceive as the role of a components overview section in Roblox, and then you can decide by yourself. But
okay?
what is the best use for a components overview section, in my opinion? It's
Hmm.
it's meant for beginning introducing what the game is going to be about, what each thing is going to do, but it's not going to be the part that actually explains how everything behaves. It's meant to be an introductory part, meant to assist in the digestion of the actual rules that are going to follow. So it is super important in very complex board games, super important because, well, there are plenty of things to digest. And in simple games, it's completely disposable. In your
Mm-hmm.
game, I think that it tends more towards the simple thing than towards
Mm-hmm.
a complex thing. So I think that
Okay.
you can dispose of it entirely, but even if you don't, if you want to keep it some way, you can do it in a mix, in a blend of two ways. First thing, synthesize much more. So
Okay.
instead of having a central track and a chakra track section inside of the components overview explaining everything that you may find inside of it, just say
Mm-hmm.
like central track and chakra tracks. Players will be advancing in these tracks throughout the game. And the game is separated into four parts, which are the levels. That's sort of enough for an overview.
Okay.
Um, then gifts and powers. By the way, gifts and powers. I think that this might be one thing that, well, it's sort of tricky here because powers is an important thing, and I'm not sure if it is explained any other in any other part of the rulebook. To be honest, now that I think of it, and it must. But the gifts, it's basically when you have in gifts and powers, gifts is basically a thematic explanation of what the gems do. So maybe this is information that should be at the very beginning. It's not even components overview, it's introduction
Mm-hmm.
material.
Okay.
So that this have to be pondered. Dice, anything that is there, like all of your dice are going to determine your amount of successes throughout the game, which are going to be important for um, anything that you do throughout the game. So this sentence is sort of enough for an overview too.
Mm-hmm.
And character sheet as well. A character sheet
Okay.
is where you're going to keep track of your advances, some of your scores, and some of your powers. Period. That
Got
is
it.
sort of what you need.
Okay.
Anything that is critical that you find here. So again, I need to tell you that, for instance, power might not be explained in any other section. I'm not sure. Dice, there might be one or another thing that is not explained here, but I'm pretty sure that there is not because you have the outcome of roll section, and that is is pretty much complete from what I remember. And in
Okay.
the character sheet, the stats, strength, swiftness, and self knowledge, that is nice overview material. But I'm pretty sure that on the outcome of roles, everything like rule wise is already explained as well. So that can be
Mm-hmm.
really, really, really smaller than what it is right now. I was just like sending it to the beginning of the rulebook as I was rearranging stuff. But
Okay.
the most important thing that I would like to address here with you first,
Mm-hmm.
two things in the genie section, which are actual rule changes that I did by myself that I just want to
Okay.
let you know. And of course, I want to see if you approve it or not, but I'm pretty confident with them.
Okay.
The first of them, if you fail an encounter with a genie, you move your pawn back one space on the central track. Why that? Because if you don't do that, you have a problem in the movement because you can only move if yeah, you actually can only activate things on the board when you land on a space, and you can only move when you have spaces to move. But the genie was sort of an exception to that because you stay in the space and you keep doing it until it's done. But in order to do it, you need to um, choose to move on your turn. You won't draw.
Right.
Like if you choose to draw, you're not going to activate the board. But if you choose to move, you need to move at least one space. And as you are already at the end of the track, you see the problem right there. So if
Mm-hmm.
you simply go back one space when you fail an encounter with a genie, end of problem. No need for any exception in the rulebook. You just move back one space, and then on the next turn, it's exactly as any other sort of movement. You're going to move because you have one space to move. You move to the genie, you activate the genie again. If you fail, you go back one space again, and the loop goes until the genie is defeated. So I
Okay.
strongly advise towards this change right here.
Mm-hmm.
And the next change is that if you succeed an encounter with a genie, everything is unlocked. You begin on a new board. Everybody follows to the next level. So it goes. And at the end, right there, the instruction said that the, the player who had defeated the genie begins play on the next level. Well,
Mm-hmm.
there are a couple of problems with that. The first problem is that this is an exception. This is not necessarily a problem, but if you didn't explain anything, people would assume that the next player is the next player clockwise, as it is all the
When
time.
they start. Right.
And the second problem, why this exception is bad right here, apart from the fact that it is not needed, um, is that it is actually bad for the game flow because it's going to
Okay.
make a player who is already good because it just defeated a genie
Mm-hmm.
gain another turn. So it's sort of bad for balancing, and it is
Yeah.
also sort of bad for game flow because someone is going to have a double turn. So
Yeah.
for this reason, I suggest that you win that paragraph with play then proceeds clockwise instead of play then proceeds with the player who defeated the genie. So the player
I
who
like
defeated
that.
the genie is actually going to be the last one to play on the next level, which is not going to be a problem because they're probably far ahead now that they actually did defeat a genie.
I like that because in the last play session, or what we were doing the last time, we talked about areas where the game can go flat, or it's a little too long, or waiting on someone to do certain things. So I love the clockwise, and I love the other thing you mentioned about if you fail the test you move back, like those little hits.
Uh
I
huh.
love that for suspense too.
But by the
Yeah.
way, moving back, that is only for the genie that was suggested.
Right.
It's not that you cannot
Right.
do it on other situations. You can if you feel like it is interesting. But for the genie, it's not only interesting; it's necessary. for keeping it simple in explaining.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay, and the other thing that I have added actually is something that we have agreed upon, which is the uh, uh, um, right back there in the extra actions section, the add success. I've just called it this way
Oh,
just
yes,
to
yes,
remember,
yes.
which is spend any gem to gain one success in addition to what you wrote. Okay, you already agreed upon this. Let me just
Mm-hmm.
remove the highlights now.
Okay.
And now I think that we need to discuss these extra actions because six of them sounds like a little too much to me.
Okay.
What do I think about it? Well, let's take a look at what we have here. We have inspiration, which is a completely different resource, which is meant to re-roll dice, and that you, well, re-rolling dice is actually trying to get more successes. So attempting for more successes. While spending one gem for now is one guaranteed success, spending one inspiration is from 0 to 3 successes depending on your roll and what you have re-rolled. Is it okay to keep it this way? Yeah, it is. But what if the game doesn't have any inspiration anymore? You don't need this resource anymore? And you just like
Mm-hmm.
in anything that would actually give you inspiration, you actually give the players, I don't know, one gem card or two gem
Hmm.
cards or even a gem, because then they can use those resources which already exist in the game
Mm-hmm.
for the
Mm-hmm.
same purpose, which is to attempt and get better results. So
I
I
like that it feels like, even though it's a kind of a longer stretch, it reminds me of those games that you can either take the longer stretch, you can buy a whole bunch of stuff to like cut to the chase. In this case, you would have to obviously wait it out, but it still gives you some other action to aspire to reach that goal. And you might get there if people take a little longer.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
I like that.
And like you don't need having more resources in a game is interesting, especially on more complex games with more dynamic economics and things like that. But
Mm-hmm.
in this game, these these rules, like both the gems and the inspiration points, they are pretty much doing the same thing,
Mm-hmm.
which is assisting you in getting better results in your checks, in your, how do you call it right here? I think you call it checks.
Wait, where assisting you? Which line are you on? The send inspiration point reroll. Add a line, empty inspiration point, another line through.
Yeah, like either way, it's a row. Yeah, it assists you in your rows, and yeah, I think they can be merged into a single thing. Having one resource which is used in various ways is more interesting than
Mm-hmm.
having two resources which are usable in the same way. And the
Yes.
gems are the core of the game right now, from what I can see. Okay, now we have aid, which is completely different than the others, and I think that should be kept. Okay, we have upgrade power, which is also completely different than the others and should be kept. Um, and we have add success, gather gems, and cast a spell. Well, from what I see here, I know that you like casting a spell, but adding a success, I think that is important. I think that is good. Like I've gave that idea to begin with, so I think it's okay to keep it at least for now. So spend a
Mm-hmm.
gem to gain a success symbol, and I think that it is interesting to have two different ways to use your gem cards, one favoring matching cards and one favoring different cards, so that they don't go stale in your hand. If like if only matching cards are good in the game and you keep drawing different cards, it gets boring. And the same
Yeah.
thing goes like if you need to have different cards and you just keep drawing the same ones. So it's nice, even though it's not super important. It's nice to have two ways of spending them. And right now, you have discarding two matching gems to gain a gem, and you have discarding three different gems to do various effects. Well, only by removing inspiration, I think that it is good enough. The game can be tested that way. But if you want to further streamline it, I would suggest maybe that discarding three different gem cards could give you, or even like discarding four different gem cards can give you one gem of your choice. Like two matching gem cards for the corresponding one, and four different gem cards for one of your choice. It's a different way of spending. It
Mm-hmm.
adds some interest to how to use it, but mostly it's meant for the same thing. The cards are going to give you gems, and the gems are going to be spent on adding successes, or in gem checks, or in other stuff, in gem tests, or in
Mm-hmm.
other stuff in the game. So it is indeed uh, um, hardly streamlining the game, strongly streamlining it, but it gets so much easier to remember
Do
because
you think that the number four is a stronger play, or the uneven number makes it, well, based on what you were saying, if it's like two matching, two different, with the four as a number, would it be like a combination, like two matching, two different, or one strong something and the others have to be, is that too much for the
I
four?
think that
Um,
selecting the thing is discarding three different gems seems to me that it is more common. I think that we will need to see the numbers, the probabilities, but
right.
we have seven different kinds of gems which are mostly well distributed, evenly distributed in the deck. So
Mm-hmm.
if I have two cards or even three cards, it is more likely that I don't have a pair than that I do have a pair. So for this
Right.
reason, I think that three different gem cards cannot give you a, a wild gem, cannot give you something that is better than two matching gem cards. So this is why I thought about four.
Yeah, okay, okay. I like that.
But depending on what it is, maybe even five could be the thing. But five seems a little too much for me, you know. So I think
Would
that like
five be like
whether it is three
last
or four.
round?
Sorry.
Would five be something like, okay, that could only be like the last level, or the any kind of way that it gets added on some exceptional piece, or like a final piece to just make it a little more interesting as you go along, or is that too much at five? Period.
Yeah. I honestly don't think that it needs to change throughout the game,
Okay.
or to become more difficult and stuff. I think it's just like two ways of spending a resource, and two matching gem cards. Of course, which gem you're going to get, the matching one.
Right.
And with
Right.
three different gem cards, which gem are you going to take? Well, it gets harder to decide for us as a designer standpoint. So it's easier to say like just get whichever you want, but getting
Mm-hmm.
whichever you want is better than getting one specific kind. So for this reason, we make it a little harder, and this is why I thought about four. But
Okay.
whether it is three or four or five is only based on, like, it has to be an even decision whether
Okay.
to try to accumulate four different, like, try to accumulate the amount of different gems to get a wild one, or trying to get pairs to get the corresponding ones.
Okay, I see. Okay, 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 wait, wait, wait. the pairs yield. Okay, supporting. And you said a different that really kind of landed for me. And then if you get the all four, it yields. What did you say, Lord?
It yields a wild gem, like whichever you choose.
Yes, wild. Yes,
But don't write it as wild, because if you write it as wild, people are going to think that there is a gem that is worth any gem. So it's mostly for explaining right here. Actually, you do choose like any gem.
Oh, so put any gem.
Yeah, or of your choice, something like that. And I think that this is going to be like way simpler than the way it is right now, because mostly we would have adding success, which is for getting successes by spending gems,
Mm-hmm.
gathering gems in two different ways, which is by spending cards to get gems, whether it's matching cards or different cards. And we
Mm-hmm.
would have upgrading power, which is a different way to spend gems for permanent effects. And we have the aid effect, which is something that other people can do throughout during your turn. But keep in mind that if you remove inspiration, you need to rephrase, to change every rule that gives you inspiration. And I think that the best thing that you can give people is gem cards, one or
Mm-hmm.
two or
Mm-hmm.
three, I don't know, depending on how good the thing is. For instance, like aiding, someone is going to give a player a gem, and the giving player immediately gains 2 inspiration points. I think that it needs to be 2 cards or at least 3 cards to be worth it.
Yeah.
Like it needs to be better what I get than what I give, for if this is a competitive game. Because if it is
Yes,
not,
I
nobody's
agree.
going to do that.
Well, I'll just put three. Three. Let's put the growth action. Okay.
Yeah, but that's basically it. Those are the things that I most wanted to talk to you: the genies things and the extra action things.
I can't thank you enough, Pedro, to be 1 million with you. Um, a large part of this has been a combination of the game as an experience and trying to translate that into game rules. And Padre did a great job of giving me a world in the landscape.
Great.
But one of the bigger things that I was trying to express was that it it didn't have the flow of someone trying to read it fresh. Because as much as I've created it, a lot of the things to make sense of what I wanted people to experience, he built into it. So I really appreciate your fresh eyes to make sense of it, the flow of it, so that I can read it and digest and understand the doggone game that I'm making, and fully flushing it out with your knowledge to make sense of it. And you've really done that, and I appreciate
Great.
what you contributed. And the only thing that's standing out for me that I notice is that, and this is something that I would love your wisdom on, as a next step of the work.
Uh-huh.
But what I haven't done a good job of is really putting some life into the characters. Like the gems, as you said, are, living out and living up, but the character cards are meant to have just as much of an impact as the gems, because you are balancing that, almost like that aggressive side of oneself, that pushing
Uh-huh.
element. And so the gym side is more of like a softer flow of ourselves, what we have to offer and what feels good, and the energy, the intensity, the attributes that the herbs have
Uh-huh.
are supposed to play into some of the things that the player would experience, and over time, the idea is that the attributes and the characters will start to have a life of their own so that people kind of have players that they want to choose in the game because of how they come off and the attributes they have. So I realized that in everything that I have done, that part is completely flat, and I've got to look at how to give them more life as well.
Okay, got it. We can take a look at that later on.
Mm-hmm.
But from my experience designing games, it is usually better to approach the core mechanics of the game first, and when you have that
Okay.
polished and nice, you're going to have and like throughout the process you're going to come up with ideas of how to break these rules, like what would it be if a character could break this rule or could behave in this different way, and this brainstorming comes naturally throughout the process of developing the core rules. And
Oh,
then
okay,
by
good.
the
Okay.
time that we have the core rules all developed, we can, um, or at least further developed, we can actually think about how to make these characters each unique and interesting to play.
Okay. Okay. Cool. I just wanted to mention that because I definitely want to be able to draft and create, based on what you think should be those next steps in the next gig. But okay, so now we went through that. That was really the only thing that stood out to me. Everything else, I feel like that now that you've really organized it, I feel like I can read through it and spend time with it and really feel more associated with it based on this too.
Great. That's great to know. Well, if you want, we can play now on Tabletopia. I've got everything ready there.
Okay.
From what I remember, we had 1 hour and a half for today, so we have around an hour, a little more than that.
Okay.
I've just sent you the link there. It's a little better than last time,
Okay. Let's see.
and then we can move on and try to find some other issues to resolve with the game, because there are always issues to resolve. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
that's how it works in this business.
Listen, I'm here for it. And yeah, I'm excited to better flow with it all. Um, Especially with the dice. It just throws me out because I'm still not associated with this. So I'm excited for even that part that you improved for us.
So let me know whenever you are inside the room, okay?
Okay, I'm here. So I'm in here. Do I need to? Oh, I click one of the X's and just choose which character I want to be.
What do you mean one of the axes?
So on my screen, there are a series of X's, circles. So I chose one that said you
Yeah.
exceeded blah blah blah, but it sent me to a screen to make a character. And the last
Oh
time I
yeah,
just
you're
popped.
creating a host, a guest. You're probably creating a guest user on Tabletopia. So just select anything and go on.
Okay,
That's Tabletopia stuff.
okay. Now playing. Looks like it's letting me in. Okay, I'm in.
All right, your hand didn't show up here yet.
I have one, two, three, four, five cards. It might be what I had the last game.
Wait, which link did you click on? Did you click on the last link that I sent you right now?
I thought I did. Let me go back in. Hang on. Yeah. Let me close these and start it over. And it is the Let's Play Tabletopia, or is it the Tabletopia.com Playground Players? It's two links. Is that
It's
the same?
it's the last one which I've sent just today. Playground players 6HY
Playground Players. Oh,
9KC.
okay. Got it. It's letting me in, but it's taking a second. Yeah, it did the same thing. Where I clicked the X. I don't know.
You want to share your screen so maybe I can help you.
Yep. Okay.
Oh yeah,
Can you
just
see
click
my
on any of the marks. Oh yeah, now that's the
Oh,
issue. You have
okay.
you sort of is inside of a session. Go scroll down a little. Hover over 12 gems and go to leave room.
Oh, I was still there.
Yeah, yeah, and now you can just like go back and you'll be able to enter. Yeah, no, just click on any.
Oh, my bad.
No
Sorry.
problem. Okay,
Sorry
but
about
now it's going to work.
that. Okay. Yeah, I wouldn't have connected that dot. Okay. This this is do I still do the selection?
Yeah, just click on any of the pluses, whichever color you choose, and
Oh, okay,
then
now it's a
use your
C.
mouse wheel to zoom in. Okay, use your mouse wheel. You have a mouse
Huh?
wheel?
Yeah, I'm on a laptop.
Yeah, okay, so scroll on your trackpad. You're probably going to like with two fingers, usually it's
Mm-hmm.
possible. What happens if you just slide two fingers up or down?
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Go ahead, Pedro. Thank you.
You're welcome. So remember, if you press spacebar, you're going to be able to see a component closer, like to zoom in
Mm-hmm.
on a component, and the rest is just like clicking and dragging and moving stuff around. So in order to apply the dice as fast as possible, I've just included those cards in there so that we can actually read them from within the prototype.
Okay.
right, so here we have us. I suggest that we actually try the core of the game without any characters, at least here at the
Okay.
beginning. So we're not going to use any character cards.
Okay.
This could even be the how were you calling it? The beginner version of the game.
Mm.
Just remove character cards. Everyone plays the same. It's easier to learn when you see everybody doing the same thing. So this is something that could be interesting for you.
That's a
Um,
great idea.
but again, not necessary. If the game is simple enough to be able to include a concept of characters, there's no reason to remove it. So
Okay.
either way, like this is a possibility, this is an option, but test it out with kids. Test it out with your beginner audience to be sure of
Okay.
what is the best.
Okay.
Um, and I'm going to begin playing. We need to get 4 cards, so I'm going to deal 4 cards to each of us, and we
Okay.
need to choose 2 gems to begin with.
Um,
So I'm getting a red jasper and a chameleon because, well, it's what we're going to need afterwards either way. And okay, um, I'll roll all 3 dice. All right, 1 success, 2 successes, and drawing 1 card. So I'm using 2 successes, and I'm going to go on a survival growth. I have to roll again for that. Remember what I said? Do you want to use this playtest to try those crazy ideas I had about how to deal with successes, or do you want to play by the rules that we have so far?
nah, I think that it's good to kind of play out some of the ideas because, again, a lot of it, I'm still like, wait, what am I doing? And so it's good to play that out so I can take the notes. And then once I start messing around with it, I can have that in mind. Even the part you mentioned about splitting, I thought was cool.
Okay, okay. Well, for now, I think that splitting is going to make the turns longer. So, for
Okay,
instance,
okay.
I'm going to go for. Well, I don't remember exactly what would be the best thing. So either way, we split and we cannot move more than one. That was the idea, right?
Yeah, it was like, like if you the way you move right now, let's say on your next turn you had two two move options. Would you do it across the central or the other track, or would you continue on the one that you already moved?
Uh huh.
It was kind of like it really gave the option for the board to be spread out more and for players to think a little more strategically about what certain moves could mean in the midst of kind of a game that they're already running. Like, do I put myself on this central track thing or do I stay with what I'm doing as a strategy? And does that even pay off? It was really interesting in the moment, but I'm open for whichever because you had quite a few ideas.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Um. Well, for now, let's begin trying using all successes for whichever you're doing. So your first roll, because if this works, I think that this is the best. It's like one roll for your entire turn.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to roll more than once. So what I just did is I had 2 successes. I could either move or draw. I chose to
Mm-hmm.
move, and I have 2 successes, used one to move and the other to grow on survival. So now it's your turn. Just select the dice and place right there. Just press R when you have everything selected. Okay, so you have one success plus one success and draw a card. So it's two successes or drawing one card. Which do you choose?
I'm gonna draw. Let's see.
Did you manage to do it?
I thought I did, but I kept moving the board.
Okay, so
Oh, there we go.
okay, an
I think I
easy
pulled
way to
one.
do that is right-clicking the deck and going on draw and click on one.
Right click the deck. Okay.
Okay, do you want to do anything else?
Oh, there we go. No, I'm cool. That's it.
Okay, now I've canceled one. I canceled both my successes and draw a card, so I'm just going to draw a card. Okay,
Okay.
your turn now.
All right.
I've got a nice idea for the blocks.
Ooh,
Uh,
okay.
I think that the longer you stay on a block, the harsher it is going to be for you.
The longer you stay on the block. Ah, okay, okay, okay. So you kind of have to move.
You kind of have to move, so you need to overcome your block as as fast as you can.
Yeah. And I'm trying
So
to make
what you have
sure.
right
Okay,
now
so
is drawing a card. Yeah, you draw two cards actually. That's the only thing you have. Of course, remember you have gems which can be used for successes. Actually, I'm just
and
going
that's
to
what I
place.
gotta start doing
I
too.
know that you placed it right there, but I'm going to place it right here because it's easier to see. Okay?
Yes. Ooh, sorry.
No problem at all.
Should I not share? Is that throwing it off?
I'm sorry. What did you say?
Oh, sorry. I said, should I not share? Is that messing it up? Messing you up?
Oh, it's not messing anything.
Okay. If I want to do two cards, you said I would click it and hit um right click to pull one.
Yeah, right click the deck. Just right click it and release it. Didn't happen? Nothing happened? Oh yeah, then go and draw, which is the bottom one. And
Oh,
what?
and I hit two.
Yeah, two actually, because you're drawing two in this turn.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, all right. Um, so my turn right now.
Mhm.
So two, one, two. It's one, two, three, four successes, and I'm definitely going to go for a stats growth. And with my three other successes, I'm going to grow on. So one, two, three. Well, actually, now that I think of it, this way of playing,
Mhm.
it doesn't. Well, it does. It does make sense. Okay, so whenever I do a growth, I have one guaranteed success if I go right here. Because if I'm rolling only once, it could lose its sense on the stats, but it doesn't. And I am
Yeah.
also going to. No, that is all. That is all. Your turn.
Okay.
Okay, you have one success or drawing one card.
Um, I need to try to get into the success business. Um, that's all I'm gonna get. If I use from here, could I choose to try to apply some of these to like maybe. Hold on, let's see where do I don't really have anything. I thought I could build something and start adding to the stats with the
Yeah, well, as you only have one stats growth,
yeah
it's one stats growth, one success. It's not going to be able to reach there,
yeah.
but you should try to begin moving. And you just like, okay, you begin moving. You're not going to get anything for the survival growth or the pleasure growth, but you'll be closer to the stats growth.
Okay, all right. Let me at least do. It was two. I can try
It
to
was one
do
success.
pleasure.
Okay, so you're spending a gem to get there.
No, I thought I was moving to the. Oh wait, I am on the pleasure. Wait, hold on. Let me make this bigger. Let's see. Okay. And then that would have me do. Okay.
Okay, that would actually get you zero because you just have one success in this row. Is that okay for you?
Yeah, that's fine. At least I can move.
Okay. Okay, right now cancel one success plus one and draw one card. Just one success for this turn. I'm actually going to, well, just a single success. I'm going to draw a card. And I'm thinking that maybe the game, like in this card exchange thing, there could be
Oh, the gear?
a nice way to like a reason to accumulate cards. I don't know, maybe if you have a pair, you get one gem. If you have a trio, you get three gems of a given type. If you have four different cards, you have one wild gem. If you have all seven different cards, it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't have to be as much, but like I think it would be nice if you were awarded for two of a kind, three of a kind, four of a kind, and so on, so that you would be
Mm-hmm.
stimulated to wait a little more before actually um, exchanging.
Expelling the card.
And
Yeah.
I think that it would be interesting as well if there was an effect for discarding one of each.
Because that's something that, I mean, even for the short time of the play, like the natural stimulation to do that, like to put cards down as an action, like what would make someone kind of want to get into that earlier just to have things happening.
Yeah.
Um, And then where it's a little logistical, but does that go in like then kind of how the encounter cards are there? Does it then begin like a side stack of the cards, or does it do any of them land in the middle? Do they always go to a person?
You mean the encounter cards that are drawn by
The
like
uh
whoever goes
the
there?
gym cards. The gym cards. I only made an example of the accounting cards because they're just kind of to the side of the board.
Uh huh.
But for the gym cards that start getting put either to other players, do we have other reasons to just put them down? Um,
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, we should have reasons to put them down. Uh,
yeah.
if we add scarcity to it, I think that it can work. For instance, what I'm thinking of is you can only spend gem cards if you chose to draw. If you chose to move,
Mm.
you're going to use your dice, your successes, and all. If you chose to draw, then you draw one card and you can spend things as you want. But you will want to have things spent so that you can actually use them in your movement. So this is going to
Hmm.
stimulate people towards actually using the cards, I think.
And I got one of them down here. You can only expend gem cards if you choose to draw. And like you said, if you are active on the board, then that's gonna like play out. But that's when you have that opportunity because yeah. Otherwise, it can be kind of like okay, back and forth, like tennis, you know, which isn't bad because you're moving, but that extra action is always, or just that extra thought is stimulating. Like, what do I do? Okay, I have that down.
Okay, one more thing that I think it would be interesting is to make the gems
Mm-hmm.
a little different from each other because right now what we have that makes them stand out from one another. We have the gem test which is like the last thing that you're going to bother about when the level is ending, and we have the powers that we're not using in this game but are going to be used throughout the games, but
Mm-hmm.
they are limited, like they end.
Mm-hmm.
You do it twice and then it ends. So I think that
Mm-hmm.
the game should have something that makes some gems better than others for some situations. And one thing that I would like to test out, and if you approve it, we can begin testing it out right now, is
Mm-hmm.
the gem in the gem test that is to the left can be used to give two successes and not only one in the track to the left. The gem to the right, same thing to the right. And both of them, same thing to the middle, I guess. So they are gems that you need to have at the end, but they are the best ones to use. So you need to think about, well, what do I do?
And let me see. So you mean like in level one, the root and sacral colors are like, the colors of the board. Maybe with level two, the solar plex and heart chakra colors are the colors of the board. Is that what you mean?
No, no. What I mean is that
Oh,
Red Jasper is going to assist you on the left, and Carnelian is going to assist you on the right. On the was that what you meant?
like the color of the chakra, which is what the gems are supposed to relate to.
Yeah,
That
exactly,
particular color, you mean, is the dominant color of that track.
exactly, exactly. That is what I mean.
Okay. Yep. Yep.
And so
That's
it
even
gives you,
incorporating it more.
yeah, and so it gives you two successes for that specific track.
Mm-hmm.
Um, okay, so now it's my turn. Let me keep going. So cancel one success plus one plus two. So I have two successes total. I can come for gem cards right here, but sort of good at that. Um, going to go for so it's two successes. I'm going to go for pleasure growth. So one, two, three successes right here. Okay, keep going. Your turn. I roll for you because it's I got the hang of it.
Okay.
So you have one, two, three, four successes total.
Okay. Well, at this point, so maybe this is something I can ask too. For someone, like, how are you connecting the dots that pass? And I don't know if it's because you play games so much, but like, I feel so slow trying to gather what I need to do.
Well, I'm a pretty slow gamer to be honest, but I'm just trying to go forward and do the best thing for that I have for the moment. I'm trying to advance on the tracks because I think that that is what's going to get me um, further on. Actually, I've just forgotten because I had a plus one on growth. So pleasure growth, I actually get a four. So I'm trying to go for
I'm glad
growth
I asked that question.
before going on any
Okay,
other
so you
thing.
said successes. Um,
And by the way, from what I
mm,
see right now, I feel that the game should be a little faster. The tracks could be a little shorter. And I don't feel
okay.
stimulated to go for the gem cards or the inspiration spaces. I think that these could be like if we have like one, two, three, four, and then I remove like I don't know two encounters or something like that from the center. The
Mhm.
game could flow faster and could be more interesting because what I personally am mostly looking at on the chakra tracks is for growth.
Mhm.
Cards I can get it whenever I pass. And inspiration right now it's based on gems, which is actually based on cards, so it's pretty much the same thing.
Um, yeah, I still have to sit with it. Okay. Um, you said I have five
Four
successes.
actually.
Four. Um, like even with that, I don't feel like okay. Let me jump in here and do what though?
Basically, think
Um,
of it. You're going to have three on survival growth. You're going to have lots of successes in this encounter. Three, I don't know like what can happen. Didn't see many encounters going on. Or you can have well, how did this behave again? Just one inspiration. Well, let's try and skip these ones, the way that I've just suggested, and you just go
okay.
to here, and one with a tree status growth on something.
Okay. So, and that would be
Or you can advance even
so.
further, but I don't see how that is advantageous to you. skipping spaces.
So with the four successes translating into, I was on survival. So translating that into a move that I would know to take. Um, let's see what's missing for me. Um, Let me just choose a different track.
Okay.
I'll do. I'm already on the other one. Let me do the survival. I'm talking about survival, I think. If it's two spaces, I'll do. Then with the stats growth, I have to actually have it. And I'll do the
Oops.
survival.
Take care. You're going to move the board because you just selected it.
Oh Lord, thank you for telling me that.
Yeah, just click outside. Yeah.
Oh. If I fall short of the maximum that I can take, then what oh Lord. What would I gain from doing fewer?
From doing fewer steps, you mean?
Yeah, like inside of that choice, because I guess I have two steps,
From what
but I
I
don't
am
feel like.
suggesting right now is that the total of successes that you get on your first row is the total of successes that you have to spend on your turn. So right now you have four. If you take two steps, you only have two more. So this is why in this scenario, in this rule set that we are suggesting, it would be
Hmm.
best to move less and then use the successes in the effect. But you
Okay.
could move up to four, but then you wouldn't have any other success.
Okay, that's what I was saying. Like the benefit of doing fewer moves. So then that means that if I did that, I would just get to do two at survival. If I only move two spaces, that would be what I
Wait,
the
what?
extra would
You
be.
were at start, right?
Yeah, I was at start.
Okay, and you want to go all the way to gem cards, correct?
Pleasure. Oh, I thought I
Survival is
was
the
on the.
first one.
Am I on the route? Yeah, I'm on the route. Sir, I was trying to see if I could do survival. Would that give me 2 points for survival if I landed there?
Actually, survival was the first one. So if you land on survival, you're going to get 3 points because you have four successes total.
Oh Lord, yes, I'm on the start. It would have been stats growth. Yeah, I would do that at least to give myself something going.
Okay,
Yeah,
so that's what you're doing.
yeah.
Okay, so three, and you can spend your red gem to get you two more successes. Do you want to do that?
Oh yeah, just to do it. So
Okay. Um, Now on my turn, what I'm gonna do is, well, probably nothing because
shit, totally.
I'm just going to draw a card, but then I get to spend them, and well, let's see what I have here. I could swear that I had a pair. Yeah, I'm not going to spend any of them. Not right now. So it's your turn.
Okay.
You have only one draw one card. No successes.
But that's the easy option. I'll just do that. And so that and right click. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't roll well again. I can only draw one card again.
That builds some suspense. Okay.
And yeah, I still don't feel the need as a player to use my cards so far.
Yeah, I just see I'm collecting them, and they're just here. Um. So at this point, the part that talks about aid, maybe it's not aid. Maybe it's a different. Maybe it's more of a. In Uno. Do you ever play Uno?
I did.
It's kind of like the switch card or like the wild card, where in the middle of the game, just things could completely change. And so maybe there's something either that's built into the deck, that like the deck with the gems that says like put three down and something, or um give the player to the right, or I don't know, but maybe that could be something that emulates the play in a different direction
I
to
understand what
get
you're
those
looking
cards
for,
moved.
but I honestly don't think that this would be the best approach for doing so because that would just
Okay.
be giving the player instructions instead of actually giving the player things that he wants to do.
Got it. Okay. Okay.
It's pretty much the same thing, just a little more bureaucratic. Um, so what I think should be the best thing is actually if the player was encouraged or even forced to play cards at some points of the game. Um, Maybe like if a player needs to discard after drawing, it needs to discard at least one card. Something like that. I don't know. This is not
Mm.
necessarily a good thing, but then I would have to discard at least one card. If I have a match to discard, then instead of discarding, I'm actually using the card. So it's a use window that is forced upon me, and then I actually do have to use it and actually collect the gems. But even the
Could it also
gems,
be a maximum number of cards you can have in your hand? Is that a little too tight too?
there is already it's 10 cards. So
But
it's
like,
yeah, maybe you could be forced upon a lower number of cards, just like 5, for instance, or 7.
yeah,
Yeah, 7 looks good
seven.
because with
Yeah.
7 cards, you get the thing that okay, do I go for trying to get one of each, or do I go for
Hmm.
trying to get matches?
I like that
So let's go for
maximum
7. You
number.
have 7 right now, and I just have to discard one. I'm going to discard. I'm actually going to discard these two on my last turn, and I'm going to get a turquoise. which in this game is black, okay? Because we don't have dark blue.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Was it your turn or mine?
I feel like I just went and you were trying to explain something to me, and I just realized I have a card that's sitting to the side. Hang on.
Okay. Right, so 6 to 6. Draw a card and one success. I'm just going to go forward. Um, because it's taking quite a while. For now, we haven't yet. Like, okay, I think that we should drop the inspiration and gem card spaces to make room
Okay.
for more things in the game.
Okay.
And I
Okay.
think that the blocks actually, instead of having a separate space right here, they should remove your advances in that specific track. I don't know, something like that. Because, sorry, because
Bless
then
you.
we would actually be using a track for two effects instead of having two different things that do pretty much the same thing. It's the same concept, it's the same idea as before. Does it make sense to you?
Mm. So let me go. Let me look at it. So basically, you're saying that taking the inspiration and the gem card. Hold on, inspiration and gem card spaces out allows us to put in. I don't think you said what it would be, but the way it would impact the character sheet is that it would make room for. Then I lost you.
No, 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 no. First thing that I said is drop gem cards and inspiration spaces. They're out of the
Mm-hmm.
game, they don't exist anymore. The track's a
Okay.
little shorter, but such effects they are going to happen when you draw cards and use cards. So you don't need to have that on the track. Second thing that I mentioned was about blocks. I think that the blocks, instead of having a separate space for marking down the blocks here, I think that it
Mm-hmm.
should affect the specific track. So the fear block affects the survival chakra, and so it goes.
Mm-hmm.
So it is sort of a backwards step. So the more I advance in my fear block, the less survival I'm going to have.
Ooh, I like where this is headed.
Because it's pretty much the same thing, but one is positive, one is negative in regards to the rules.
Yeah, and what I'm hearing is that it's gonna show up in the experience, of the player that it's gonna it's fulfilling an inner goal I have basically that a lot of the things that they do will be like translated, in the activity of the game. It's 12:57. Pedro, I know our time.
What did you mean about 1257?
I
Oh
thought we
no,
were
no,
done.
no, no! But don't worry about that.
Okay.
We can go a little further. It's okay
Okay.
because I have an appointment a little slightly later today. We can just like play a couple like 2 or 3 turns more if it's okay for you.
Okay. 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 I just want to be mindful of your
In
time.
order to do that in the best way possible, I think that let's consider here. How much would someone go on a survival track? Well, there are only 2 survival growth spaces. And if I
Mhm.
really excel in that, I'm going to get around 10. So this doesn't need to go up until 20. It can go just up until 10. And from 10
Okay.
onwards, I start going backwards with my fear or something like that. I don't see exactly how it can behave in a different way, but for now, let's think about this.
Okay.
But what I'm actually going to do in my turn, I'm going to move forward one space in the encounter just to see what happens, because this is something that
Mm-hmm.
hasn't yet happened in the game. So okay, I found this Nuga, level 1, strength 6, and I cannot spend gems. Alright, actually that's strength 6 is really really hard to beat, because I'm not going to roll. And even if I was going to roll, even if we weren't playing by these rules that we are playing right now, it would be very harsh, because from dice I could only get um, how many successes? Let me think. 5 at most. Well, yeah, very harsh. So okay, let's see how it plays out. So of course I lost it, because even if I managed to spend these two, I would only get 3 more. Wait, no. Actually, we're going to change one more thing. Remember how the strength was, you had to double your die roll? There was something like that.
Oh,
Outcome
hang on,
of
hang on, hang on.
rolls
Yeah.
during combat, add 2 times the number to your strength stat. And during combat, your total strength is your die roll plus your 2 times the number of successes. Yeah, it's always 2 times. So instead of doing that, what we're going to do is consider that any strength of opponents is half. Instead of doubling everything, we just half the cards for now, because afterwards I suggest that you actually do half the cards in the game. But there's no reason
Oh,
to
it's
double
from
something
the
if you can
20 to the
actually half
10.
the other end.
From the 20 to the 10 on the stats.
No, no, no. I'm not talking about this. I'm talking about all of the enemy cards and the genie
Uh
cards.
huh. Oh yeah, you said instead of the 6, make it 3.
Yeah, exactly. Because then
Mm-hmm.
you don't have to double the strength, or to double the rolls whenever you're in a combat.
Okay.
Make sense to you?
It will. I'm still digesting all of it as things are being made clearer in it. So that's why I was saying after this, I'm really gonna go through it and digest the dice part and the other things that just relate like directly to how the results come through, because that's
Sure.
really where we left off.
Okay.
So
And
I'm
remember
really
to
thrilled that you get it.
Okay. And remember that you're going to have this video. You're going to be able to review all of these crazy rules that we are creating on the go right here. Uh,
Yes.
so, if this is strength 3 and I cannot spend gems, I'm screwed either way. Because if I could spend gems, I'd have 3 right here. 2 because this is the core one, and I can spend
Mm-hmm.
either red jasper or carnelian to increase it, but I cannot spend gems, so I am in the state of hell right here.
Wow.
Okay. Um,
Okay.
Now it's your turn right here.
Mm-hmm.
You have 1 plus 1. It's 2 successes or drawing 1 card. Which would you rather do?
Um, so let's see. From where I am, I'm at. Let me not touch that. I'm at survival and pleasure. If I can, you said two success.
Yeah, two
Uh,
successes.
so in this, do we consider that the inspiration and gems aren't there in this scenario?
Inspiration and gems. Yeah, inspiration does not. Exactly. They're
Okay,
not on
so if
the
I were to
train.
do one step on the sacral track, I would go to stats growth, which is the
Exactly.
same that I would get on the roots if I were to do one. To give me one more.
Plus two if you decide to.
So,
No, not actually, because you needed to have an orange gem for this.
oh, that's right. And we have one that has no bearing. Okay, so if it's that, which is kind of nothing, or the draw, the other one was the draw too.
Okay,
The other option?
let's draw one actually.
One. Okay, yeah. And then we got draw one. Oh Lord.
And I have to attempt meditation. Um, I have to roll equal to or higher than the current level. Well, sounds easy. Oh, and if I meditate successfully, I
Mm-hmm.
increase a character stat of my choice by one. Well, this sounds
Hey,
good actually.
that's see that even makes it seem for me. I'm like, well, wait a minute, he's got all that going on. Okay, and on my side, I have one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine cards, and we already built in that I can only have seven.
Yeah, you need to discard two or use some of them.
Okay, so I really need the Jasper. So right now, I'm gonna do it now. The next one will be. I may have to do some of these.
You said Jasper?
Dang.
Ah, red Jasper. Okay.
Yeah, I have red Jasper, and I'm thinking about what the next level will be. So I'm thinking I need to kind of give up my blues, I guess.
The next level is going to be the citrine and the jade. It's in order.
Yeah, so the blues are a little farther away from me, so I can give up one.
Okay, so you're just discarding or you're actually using?
So I have the two
Two
these are
lapises.
the yeah the lapis. So um I was going to discard them just so I have my seven, but if I could benefit from them
Yeah,
and give
you do.
myself
That's exactly what you do. So
okay.
you get a lapis right here.
Ah, yeah, okay.
And I just rolled no successes, so it's your turn again.
Okay.
Let me roll for you.
Okay, thank you.
You've gotten no successes and drawing two cards.
Okay. Let's see.
And then I've gotten plenty of successes right here. And I get to spin
Ooh.
again. And I
Right,
get
right, right.
one more, one character trait, which is probably going to be strength because those enemies are hard. But yeah,
You put it on the string.
yeah, I placed that right there on track. Well,
Nice.
just
Okay.
just to let you know, you can access this exact um, board right here um, through Tabletopia through this very link. I'm not going to close this room because then you can play around with it, remember how it was,
Oh,
and of
okay.
course you can create the another room with the link that I gave you before. If you have any question
Hmm.
on how to um, to edit the setup, to edit the prototype, to include more things, just let me know and I'll help you out.
Okay. Okay.
And finally, now not talking about this gig specifically, but talking about future gigs. You mentioned that
Yes.
you probably will want to do this late September or early October. That is totally fine for me. I'm usually
Okay.
available on the next week every time,
Okay.
so it's
Okay.
totally okay. Both September or October are pretty far ahead, so I'm definitely free.
Okay.
And if you want, just to let you know, I know that Fiverr, I definitely know that Fiverr charges some fees on myself, and it does charges some fees on you too. And if
Mm-hmm.
you want, you can contact me directly through Discord. I have some other ways of working through there. Just let me know with however you prefer, either through Fiverr or through Discord
Okay.
directly, and we'll schedule.
Okay. That sounds good. That's actually a great option. We can, cut out these fees. So that works for me too.
Okay.
And if it works, maybe even from here, based on what I shared and what even you think is good to consider for the next step. Maybe that's a way we can create what that looks like and kind of mirror what this was time wise. But that works for me. Um, and the only reason I said September is just to give myself realistic time to mess around with this so that when we do have the time, you can actually like play it out where I'm really in it too, you
Okay.
know.
Sure. I'm free whenever you choose.
Okay, okay. So if it ends up being sooner, I'll definitely tag you. But I just wanted to make sure I gave myself enough time on my end um, to level up to the knowledge of it all and have it really land. But I'm just thrilled that what has been created makes enough sense for someone like you to develop it, get it, and even contribute to it. So this is good news for me, and I look forward to putting some more
Okay.
stuff together.
Great.
Yeah,
Same goes for me. Sounds like a nice
yeah.
game that is going to like it's getting some body right now,
Hmm.
and has everything to become a very nice tool to approach these subjects right here.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Um,
So
yeah, I feel good about what we created and even the notes that were developed today from it. So this has been great.
yeah, it's all about changing and goals and change and test and fail and repeat and that's how it goes.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
Going to finish the call and the video right now, and then I'll send
Okay.
you on Discord a brief of how I work outside of Fiverr, just for you
Okay.
to have it there. And see you
Okay.
next time. Have a great
Yes,
weekend.
indeed. I look forward to it.
Okay, so thank you very much, Melanie.
Thank you.
Good.
Enjoy the rest of your week and weekend.
Goodbye. Same for you.
Okay, take care.